It is 4 o'clock. You know what that means? It's time for Table Spotlight. All right, Table Spotlight. So what Table Spotlight is, if you missed yesterday, is when we go out into the chat audience and we turn on specific people's cameras and microphones, and they're going to show us what they have for sale, trade, or what they're searching for, or they just want to talk, interview, discuss, say hi to the membership. So our first Table Spotlight of the day, his name is Tommy Collins. And go ahead, let's turn Tommy on right now. Tommy's got some incredible decks for us. He's already told me. And he said he's got a nice way to show us all his cards. So if you see something you like, you contact Tommy. He's ready to sell it to you. He's ready to trade it to you. He's ready to make a deal with you. So Tommy, can you hear me?
I can, Lee. Thank you so much. Can you hear me all right?
I can. Let me just
Great.
turn on my
So real quick, I want to show you an eBay find that I found. Everybody should recognize that card, the score counter. This particular, anybody recognize this?
Of course.
Right? I got that on eBay for $11.
Oh, are you serious?
$11. Somebody
you see
had
that
no
go.
idea.
You see that go for $100, $150.
I know, right? I mean, $11 on eBay. Somebody didn't know what it was, and they were just, they were getting rid of it. So I guess I'm walking to the table where I want to show you. You got to, we all know this already. You keep your eyes and your ears open and all this kind of stuff, and you find deals. That's how I find some of my vintage. So I made a connection with another member, Joyce Thompson, about a little over a year ago. Her husband had passed away. They had been collecting thousands of decks since the 1990s when they stopped. When they did, she's not really been doing anything with them for the last 20 plus years, and she decided she wanted to sell some of them. Well, I do eBay every so often, so she sent me 2 boxes of decks because I was interested in buying some older rider back decks, which I did. So she sent me all of these other decks to sell. Of course, our convention gets canceled, so I have no really means to, and I don't want to ship them back to her. So here's what I've done. I've put all of her decks, including mini decks, toy decks that are right, where am I at here? Like there. I'm going to show all of those to you, and I've got them. Everything is numbered. Lee will continue to show you my email address. So let's get started and use our time as wisely as possible. All right. So you can kind of see, just if anybody sees a deck that they're interested in, am I close enough?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. You just make a note of the number of the deck. Some of these are bridge. Most of them are poker. Many of them have tax stamps affixed. Many of these decks are sealed. I've not seen most of these decks over the years. I'm like, I have no clue. So that's 1 through 14. I think I'm at 15 here. Am I at 15? No.
Yeah, you're good.
There we go. Okay, I'm going to start moving along. Those are some bridges you can see. And then when we get done scrolling, if somebody makes a note and says, Tommy, I want to see deck number. If I can flip it around, show you whatever I can show you, I will do my best.
Nice. Look at the Red Cross decks. I love
Oh,
those.
I know. Look at that. Yeah. And the military fortune tellers, sealed. Tax stamp sealed. I mean, some of these are like choice decks. All right, so that's through 28. Let me pick up 29.
Remember, guys, if you see decks that you like, just note the number and contact Tommy. His email is in the chat.
And what I've also done to help everyone, if you see a deck, you go, wow, I'm interested, shoot me an email. I've taken pictures of every deck, front, back, sides. If it's open, I've taken, and I've already done the deck, all the cards, spread them out. I made sure if there's any damages or rips, I've already taken pictures of that as well. In other words, I just want to make it as easy for you. I mean, look at this. Johnny Walker. I mean, great deck.
This is lovely. This is lovely, Tommy. Really, the numbers are really helping. Like anyone who's going to see this and has a table spotlight in the next day or 2 or 3, guys, this is wonderful. What a great idea.
My pleasure. I'm glad this is working. Now look at this. How about presidential cards?
Yes.
LBJ, how about a vice presidential deck? I mean, those are rare. Whoever had a vice president deck, but they've got them, and there they are. I mean, great finds here. All right, so I did that. All right, so here's a writer back.
This is great, Tommy. This is really great.
All right, good. I'm glad that you guys are able to see these. Oh, yeah, the Chinese decks, beautiful artwork. Some of these decks, I tell you what, for the artwork alone, you're going to go, oh, my gosh. I mean, and most of these decks, from what I got from Joyce, 50s, 60s, maybe 40s. And I can see already emails coming up on my notifications. So, again, Tommy Collins, oh, by the way, Congress guy, there you go. The Congress on the left is cellophane. It is opened, but the deck and the case is still sealed. It is brand new, tax stamps and all. So, all right, so let me go to the next set here. Oh yeah, this is cool. Anybody recognize this deck? It's called, I don't know it. Lee, do you know it?
It's a Mountain Men, I think.
No.
Harry...
Go to the black one.
Oh,
number.
I'm sorry.
34. I'm gonna
that I don't know.
I'm gonna zoom in. Hold on.
Analog.
Yeah. Anybody? It's sealed. So I can't open it. I don't know anything about the analog deck. I mean,
I'm sure
the
someone in the chat will help you out with that.
Yeah,
Ruth Kadar.
Right. The Mountain
Rhonda
Man.
Hawes says this is a Ruth Kadar deck.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Yeah, and
excellent.
Ruth Kadar, this is very interesting. Ruth Kadar is the one who designed the Google logo.
Really?
Yes, she is. Rhonda just dropped that too in the chat. So she's also a member of the club.
There's the Mountain Man decks.
Yes.
Yeah, for the bridge. You're kind of cool. All right, let me keep moving.
Those are wonderful. Harry Wastrak wrote an article about that. Wait. Stop right there. That's a Hungarian deck of cards, right?
Yeah, it's big. It's huge. It's like almost like a tarot deck.
Yes, it's a very beautiful deck of cards.
You ought to see the artwork of those cards. Incredible.
Yes.
I mean, I've never seen anything like it in all the years that I've been doing this. All right, so these are still sealed in cellophane. They're the Four Seasons. You recognize the artwork, of course.
No, actually,
and then, this is wrong guy.
Yes, Norman Rockwell. I'm sorry, you weren't close enough.
Now these aren't, the one next to them aren't in cellophane, but they're all sealed. So all those decks are sealed. This is cool. Anybody ever see this?
Of course.
Yeah, I mean, it's been the deck's sealed, I believe. I took pictures, but everything is in there. It's in, again, excellent shape. So, all right, I'm going to show everyone this box.
So, Tommy, we have about 5 more minutes. So
okay, I'll do this quick.
I'll let you know.
This is from Cartamundi back in 1991. It was shipped to Joyce. Wait till I show you what's in there. All right, so real quick, here's a double deck mini. One sealed, one open. These are all mini decks. These are all minis. I mean,
Yes, very fun.
incredible. And I believe they're pretty much all there. All the cards are there. If not, I certainly took pictures and noted. But here's cool. Toy cards.
Yes.
Toy cards. I'm going like, who played with toy cards?
Kids.
I guess, right?
Gotta get them early, man.
Last one is she sent me an envelope. It's item 69. I think these are Spanish cards from what I could check, but it's just this is all I've got is like, what is that? 6, maybe 13 cards. Yeah, Spanish cards. I don't know how old they are or whatever, but she sent them as part of her set. All right, so let me do this. I've only got a couple of minutes. Let me open this box for everyone. Bear with me as I kind of move around the phone.
We're going to go ahead and drop your email in the chat again.
Great.
Just in case. If anyone sees anything they want to buy or they want to make a deal on, please contact Tommy. This is what Table Spotlight is all about. We'd be doing this live, right, in the dealer's room if we were in Pittsburgh, but we're not. So we're in Tommy's home. If you see what you like, you contact Tommy.
So 1988, what's it? Fresnick was the artist. Look at this. Okay, dealer's coin. I assume, or it's the transformation deck, playing card deck, and it's got the artist's created and designed by Robert Schick, Schick, and here is the actual deck. Sorry that I'm doing this with one hand.
That's okay.
But look at this stuff. Here is a booklet that explains everything about it. It's also gilded on the booklet.
Yes. Beautiful.
Sealed deck. Look at that.
Fantastic.
Isn't that amazing?
Transformation deck.
I know, Lee, that you're going to record all these. If somebody really missed something, now do me a favor. Please don't somebody send me an email, go, can you send me 67 sets of pictures for 67 decks? I mean, it'll take me days to upload that many photos to your email server. But I have them all done. They're on my phone. All you have to do is just send me the email at tommycollinsmagic@gmail.com, and I will send you the pictures, and then you make me an offer. This is really, this is for Joyce. I'm doing this for a long time club member to help her clear out decks that they haven't really been collecting for the last few years. So Lee, there you go, my friend. I hope this worked out okay for you.
Tommy, this was fabulous. This was better than fabulous. This was great. Everyone, throw some one in the chat room for Tommy Collins. At the same time, let's see if we can get some lower thirds. There we go. This is me, but there's Tommy's info right there. That's who you want to contact. If you saw something you liked, you write this guy. Okay? Tommy, thank you so much. Really appreciate your time.
And my pleasure. I'm glad to be part of as a member of the club.
We'd love having you as a member too. Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Okay. Next up, you know who it is. He's one of the foremost modern bicycle collectors. He is constantly networking. He knows everybody in the industry. He's one of the nicest guys. He's also a fellow Canadian. Ladies and gentlemen, Jason Rideout.
All right. Well, first off, I want to say what a fantastic job you're doing. It's a lot of fun seeing people again. It's been great. You and your team, of course. Your team also takes a lot of credit. I know there's a lot of people behind the camera there. One of the first things I want to talk about is actually your auction. So there's a really cool item coming up on Saturday. It is lot number 114, and only because I have all the pieces, I put it together. This is what it looks like. So this is a wood box. This is made from the floorboards of the United States Playing Card Company.
Okay, go slow, Jason. Wait a minute. Go slow. This is lot number 114, everybody. This is the last item in the auction. This is the big bad boy. If you're a modern collector, you're staring at greatness, right? Tell us about these decks. How could you? There's only one way you could have gotten these decks, Jason. How did these decks come about?
Well, Lee, I was sent an invite to go to an exclusive party in New York City. You were there, of course, and so was everybody else. Chris Ramsey, just tons of people, and they were handing these decks out. They came in a little collector box, which I don't have close to me right now.
Not the same box they're in right now.
This is not the same
box they're
box
in right now is very special, and we'll talk about that in a second. But first, more about the cards. What are so special about these cards?
So, obviously, everybody knows that Cardamundi took the acquisition of United States Playing Card Company, and for the celebration, to celebrate this major event, they wanted to have a big celebration, a thank you party in New York City, where they invited cardistry guys, magicians, collectors, the who's who, and it was just a full party, like, you know, unlimited drinks, unlimited food, and it was fantastic. And luckily enough, I was invited and had an amazing time. And as for the decks, I mean, as far as I know, that was the only way to get them. And
I believe so.
I'm very, very happy to have them. As for the box is very, very exclusive. I don't actually have the original decks that are in there. I have number 62 of 125. The one that's for auction is 52.
Correct, number 52.
If you are lucky enough to have the decks that actually came in this box, they're very special. There's only 125 sets, and the actual tuck boxes are numbered as like imprinted on there, like not just like handwritten, like they actually printed right on the bottom of the tuck box the numbers, and the seal is numbered, and it comes with a certificate. Now, I'm pretty sure the auction comes with a certificate. I don't actually have a certificate for this box. I only have the box, but I'm very, very happy to have that. But I just wanted to show you what you guys are bidding.
Tell us about the box real quick.
The box is made from the floorboards of the old United States Playing Card Company factory, made by one of the employees, I'm pretty sure. They made 125 boxes, and they did have them. I don't really remember how they were originally handed out. I know that there was some contests. You could have got one, yeah, you can actually see the floorboards.
That's so cool.
It's pretty neat. It's got a lot of weight to it. It's not cheap. You know, a lot of love went into making these, and I'm very, very happy to have it in my collection.
Great, man. Thank you. So what else we have? What else we got? I know you've got some really special stuff to show us.
I do. So let me put my camera back around. And so I'm just going to show the decks really quick. I'm not going to really stop. I'll talk as I'm going along. If you want to, there, I put a message there. If you want to ask about any of these decks, or if you're interested in these decks, just shoot me a message or shoot me an email, and we'll go from there. So let's start. So basically, all these decks are available. If you have any questions about them, I sent a link for a picture. You can zoom right in on the picture in there. Let me know if I'm going too fast or too slow. So some are from Illusionist.
A little slower. We want to enjoy this.
Some are from Illusionist, some are from Jackson, some are just from random vendors. There's Johnny Cupcakes, other Kickstarter campaigns that might have been there. Here's a Sherlock Holmes deck. Slow down.
You're going real fast there.
Sherlock Holmes decks. Some decks from Alex Chin. Gold Arcane from Illusionist. Sorry, the lighting in here.
That's okay. Just go a little slower, Jay.
Yeah, no problem.
Milk every deck for what it's worth, man.
All right. So Black Artifice, Gold Artifice, Red Artifice. There's a deck from Lance Miller. That was actually one of the first decks he did before he did the bicycle deck on Kickstarter. Most people don't know that Lance was really the first. He was the first branded Kickstarter campaign. And there's
he's teaching us how to draw cards tomorrow. So make sure that everyone gets the cards.
Lance is a great guy. I've hung out with Lance. We did an escape room together. It was pretty fun. So Altruism, some Devo or Devo decks. Empire, it's one of my favorite decks. You got some Magicon, the old red LTDs, the Mana decks from Eric Mana. Yeah. And you got the red Monarchs, you got some silver Monarchs, you got the Bohemia decks.
Ooh, Uzi.
Yeah. Then you have a Ralph Lauren set. These were from a few years ago. The old Propaganda decks, Grotesque. The Fraggle Rock deck, which is actually a really fun deck, and it's really nice. How many smart? What's that, sorry?
I love the show.
Yeah, Hi, my name is Mark. Then you have the Whispering Imps decks. Then you got some Paul Carpenter decks. You got the Tendril, and you got a couple of the Orem decks. You got a Madison deck here. That's a Madison Players deck. It's a Mark deck. Black Crown, Gold Crown from the Blue Crown. So some more mana decks. That's a set. Then you have the Jack Sellers decks. These were the Theory 11 ones after the original Jack ones. I don't have a set of the original ones available. Here's a Gold Monarch, the white Gold Monarch. And then you have the Oracle deck, the unbranded version. And now we got some David Blaine stuff. You got the Silver Split Shades, Series A, Series B red, Series B blue, and then the black label at the end. And over here, you got some white knuckle decks.
Yes, from Australia.
I actually have the set. The other one's around somewhere, so I have a set of those available, the blue. And I forget what the other one's, red, I think it is. One of the Carnival decks. You got the red tune, blue tune. Those were from Alloy Studio, I think. Then I have quite a few of the Tally Ho decks from Jackson there.
Yeah.
So you got the, I don't know the names. I'm kind of at a weird angle here. But these are fantastic decks. Jackson is a fantastic artist.
Yes,
then I have the B Coterie decks. It's getting a little dark here, so I'm trying to pull these out. B Coterie. There's very few custom B decks. This one doesn't have a seal. Some of them have a gold seal. This is actually a prototype B deck. I'm not sure the whole story behind this, but this is not
quality Bs. They were made for the Chinese market, I believe. Yes,
absolutely. The Moth Myth deck. Don't really know the story behind that deck either. I've had it for a long time. Going down further, you have. Sorry. Can you guys still see me?
Yeah, we can see you.
Right,
Jay, we have about 5 minutes left, so I just want to give you your 5-minute warning.
I'll start going faster. Alexander, I won't read them all off.
No, don't go that fast, man. We can't see everything.
Remember, the pictures in the group there's a link. I'll post it again when I'm done. And down at the bottom, you got some other decks.
We're going to go ahead and put your email in the chat right now. If you see any decks that you like, and look, there's a ton of decks I'm drooling over here, so I'm sure you're drooling too. Contact Jason Rideout.
The White Centurion.
They're ready for sale, ready for trade. Make them a deal. He's ready to play with you.
All of these here, these are also all for sale. I'll quickly just do a pan.
It seems you like bicycle cards, Jason.
Well, I currently have about 1,200 different bicycle decks. Stephen Bruno is probably the only person I actually know that has more modern bicycle decks than me. I have a lot of decks that some people just can't find, and I'm the only person I know that has some of them.
Yeah, you definitely get your hands on some really hard decks to find.
Yeah, these are some of the harder bicycle decks to find up on the wall here. So especially these advertisement decks, these are Canadian releases. They were attached to bottles of booze. And then you have some other stuff like the Vicasa decks. This is for a library. I forget which library it is. But basically, some of these decks are pretty hard. Normally promo decks.
There we go. Man, that was fabulous. What a great selection of modern decks. You can see the chat room. Let's see some ones for Jason Rideout. Show him some love. And also, Jason, please post up the copy paste that you just had in there. It's going to give your email address, a link to the photo if you like to see all the cards that he just showed us, as well as a way to follow Jason on Facebook.
I'll post it a couple times, but thank you very much for the time, Lee. Again, this is great, fantastic. I'm enjoying it, and
thank you. I'm sure everyone in the chat room really appreciates the energy and effort that you put into showing us your table spotlight. So thank you.
Thanks. All right.
Hey, next up, we have something special. He is a singles collector. He also collects decks. But can we bring on Kevin Dixler? Kevin Dixler, you're up, my friend.
Good. Well, as I said, my name's Kevin Dixler. I've been a member for about 2 or 3 years with the 52 Plus Joker organization, but I've also been a member in the past of the Chicago Playing Cards Society back in the 70s. I'm a second generation singles collector. My mother collected in 1949, so we have a pretty nice sized collection. I know many of the old timers who were with CPCC. I started collecting in the early 70s. took a 40-year break, and again, what Lee said, I'm beer, mostly whiskey, bourbon, and liquors. I also collect Metlock steins for people who are into collecting steins, and have some collections that I'm currently trying to sell, buttons, records, so please ask, it doesn't hurt. Let's see if I can get to the next slide. Basically, I don't know how many people do collect singles, but I use 3-ring binders from Office Depot, the ones with the windows, so I can identify what they are and on the outside and easily access them. Of course, the Ultra Pro Platinum sheets and the inserts are very helpful as well. And I look at auctions like most people, eBay, Etsy, to get cards. Facebook has a number of pages, word of mouth. The trading I usually do is with beer cards. I find that people aren't as much into whiskey or bourbon cards for some reason. I also work in the industry. I'm involved in the spirits industry with Whiskey and Barrel Night, which was formerly ran by the people who ran Whiskey Live for Whiskey Magazine. So that's my interest in the industry as well. That's a part-time job, though, of course.
But it's a full-time job to drink it.
I do drink, and I do collect whiskey also. That's a pretty large part of my collecting. But the best part about whiskey is you can imbibe them, and of course with playing cards you can play with them. The categories are obviously there, Scotch, otherwise. I don't know if I just missed it or if I can go back and try to go to that last page, but I break them down by bourbon, Scotch, beer, and otherwise. Some of the things I look for when I collect are whether they have frayed corners, bent corners, print defects, and rips, and otherwise. I prefer the jokers and the aces. And for the most part, I'm looking to trade, to sell, and to upgrade. So some of the cards may not be in the greatest of conditions, so I may want to get a newer card. The rarity of a card makes a difference, but sometimes some of the rare cards are really quite common. And a lot of people don't realize that. For us, they're common. For decks, maybe not, but for us, the singles cards are much more common. And they're easier to collect because they're consolidated. They're in a book, so we can see the backs and the face cards much more easily. There is an organization that does cater to this, the British Brewing Playing Card Collectors Association. I've written an article for them. Mike Johnson and Maxine Chantry run that organization, and I provided the information on this page. They provide a whiskey playing card catalog, which could be helpful for people who are interested in finding out what's available and what they can collect. And obviously decks too, but many of these cards are quite rare. A little bit about the Scotch art category, which is also a history of playing cards. As you notice, I posted a bunch of black and white Buchanan's cards. I'm sure many of you have heard of, perhaps, or some of you have heard of Morgan Dennis. He grew up in Long Island. He was the principal artist for black and white, Buchanan's black and white Scotch. And he studied at the American School of Design under Henry Beckel. One of his murals hung at the Sheraton Russell Hotel for many, many years until it was demolished in 2005. And for more information on Dennis Morgan, I've provided a link, but I have some other information. Dennis also did playing cards as well and backs, and worked for many playing card companies. If you've heard of Dennis, Morgan Dennis, not Dennis Morgan, but Morgan Dennis, he's somebody to think about. He competed in the 1936 Olympics in the art category, wrote for the Ladies' Home Journal, was an illustrator for many Boston newspapers, also illustrated for many, many books, and became a specialty artist for dogs and cats. He lived in his houseboat, the Sea Dog, until his death in 1960 in Key West. Very interesting person from what I've heard from people who knew him. These are some of the books that Morgan Dennis wrote, are illustrated, and some of the one of the advertisements from Black and White Scotch, which still uses his art, by the way. I just passed up some of his other cards. I'll move on.
Scotties, I recognize those.
Yeah, I was going to go backwards, but I have no idea how to do this on Facebook, so I'm going to continue with the interesting facts about U.S. whiskey. A lot of people don't know that there was actually Canadian bourbon until 1964, when the federal government regulated bourbon and defined it as being unique to the United States. And before that, we had playing cards actually that came out for St. Lawrence. There's also another company called, that was run by Henry Gunst, who is an interesting person who did playing cards for his company. He had Rooney malt whiskey. Henry was of Bavarian Jewish background, and he migrated to the United States in 1850 and fought in Manassas for the 13th Virginia Infantry Regiment. When he concluded his service to the CSA after the Civil War, he opened up his distillery in Richmond, Virginia, and had another brand called Old Henry. When Prohibition came through, he had to leave Virginia for North New England, and his company continued until 1919 when Prohibition took place, and he was put out of business. Unfortunately, like many distillers, Henry Gunst was basically made his company was made bankrupt by the people who were who they were for many years. Other things, these are some examples of cards that maybe some of you have seen. In the middle, you can see the crest. That's from Johnny Walker, an older card, but there are about 3 different series of those crests, by the way. The older ones, you can tell if you have a careful eye, and some people may be able to tell the older decks like that. And these are some of the Prohibition, pre-Prohibition bourbon decks like New Hope that you might have seen. Again, I put Rooney's, and I've included a card from the Four Roses deck that many of you may have if you do collect decks. Westridge is another one as well. These are reprints of ads, and they're not so much as reprints, but these are actual ads from Dewar's that progressed. What's interesting is Mitchell's Old Irish really was copied by Dewar's. And of course, if you notice, Dewar's was copied by Osborne Cognac. They basically copied their art and their design. The one to the right over here, Dunsville's, that's just modern wide. As you know, water wides are simply advertisements that are transferred to cards. They're not original advertisements. So some people are more interested than others in those cards.
Very fascinating, Kevin. Very fascinating.
The other areas of these cards, obviously, the face cards. And of course, many people seek the decks for the jokers and for the aces of spades. I just seek the jokers and the aces of spades. The joker with Uncle Sam, that's from the Four Roses deck, but many of the face cards are collectible, so I do have a deck or 2 of those. Dellinger's is Hiram Green from Pennsylvania. They put out a whiskey in Pennsylvania that was popular for a period of time and no longer. Fell's Distilling out of Kansas City put out this deck with the jokers. This is your Green River, which is rather common. These are some cards that I'm currently interested in. I've seen from time to time that people may have obtained. Certainly, if somebody has any of these cards, I'd be interested in trading or trading or purchasing them, perhaps. And these are some of my stock that I have. This is just some of many of them. I have quite a few whiskey cards for sale or trade. I think I can't even keep count of how many thousands I have, but these are some of them. And again, this is the Jameson whiskey cards. There are a number of these that are of interest. I have some binders of some of the trading cards that I've done. I'm just going to have them show up so people can look at them. If they see something that is of interest, please let me know. And
we can contact you, Kevin. We're going to put your email in the chat.
Sure.
There we go. And if anyone sees anything they like, please contact Kevin. He wants to either sell, trade, upgrade. Make this man a deal.
Sure. And again,
I just want to let you know we have about 3 to 4 minutes left.
Sure.
So if there's anything else you want to show or anything you want to talk about, let's unshare your screen so we can see your face again.
Sure.
There we go.
If there are any questions from anybody, I certainly could field them. And again, I don't know if there's anybody who has anything that they are curious about. Again, I've been involved in the industry as well, so I do know some of the playing cards and the decks that have been released. Glenfiddich, Glenmorangie has released face card decks that people are probably collecting.
I have a quick question for you.
Sure.
If the deck ages 18 years, is it better?
Not necessarily. You probably know that.
I'm joking with
Depends
you.
on the number
Kevin,
of decks they release.
this has been very educational. Thank you so much for sharing. You're actually one of the first singles collectors to put a table spotlight on, so I really appreciate that. We love having you guys as part of the club. So again, contact Kevin if you saw something you liked. Throw some ones in there if you saw something you liked.
I hope as more people consider collecting singles because it's quite enjoyable, and you get to put more in a binder than those decks you got all over the walls.
Again, thank you, Kevin. All right. So next up, And it's going to be hard to follow these guys. I mean, Tommy, and there's been some really great top spotlights, right? Okay, we're gonna see if we can top it. Ladies and gentlemen, Shaun Rivera. And I hope I said that correct, Shaun.
That is correct. How's it going?
Right on, right on. That's my Matthew McConaughey, by the way. All right, so I'm going to turn it over to you, sir. First, I want to say your shirt is awesome.
Thank you very much.
I think all the ones in the chat right now are for Kevin, and now they're also clapping for your shirt. Fantastic.
It's cool.
So thank you
Well, thanks for
taking
having
the
me.
time
Thanks for
today.
the spotlight.
Absolutely, man. So what do you have to show us?
Well, I just have a few decks to sell here if anybody is interested. We'll start here.
Okay, so nice and slow. We want to
Okay.
enjoy every single.
It's Miller time. We've got some Animal Kingdom cards. B. These are Blue Seal.
Oh, there's a group
These
of people
are,
that really enjoy the Blue Seal.
These are actually Svengali decks, or not Svengali, stripper decks for my fellow magicians here. These were made locally in
And when you say
Grandview,
locally,
Missouri.
where are you
I'm
located?
I'm in Kansas City.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
very good.
So these are made not too far in Grandview, Missouri here. These are
Is that
bicycle.
U.S. Toy and Company?
That's right, yeah.
I know Phil
Fun
Klein
place.
very well.
These tactical bikes are Blue Seal.
Mhm.
These three bikes here are Blue Seal.
Now, for those of you that don't know what Blue Seal means, these are decks that were made at the Cincinnati factory before they moved to Erlanger. And it just happened to be the color that they were putting on the decks at the time. I don't think anyone said to them, we need a Blue Seal. That's just the way that it worked out. And it's rumored that Blue Seals feel better, last longer, they cure all disease. So Blue Seals.
Cool.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Bicycle cyclists. Those are not Blue Seal. Some woman cards. Do I need to zoom in or zoom out at all?
You're good for now. I think we can see a nice
Okay.
selection. If you want to specifically move in to show one deck, sure. But right now, I think we're good on wide.
Okay, cool. Some Verts. Virtuoso, got a couple of those. Gold Seal bikes.
Cool.
A black bicycle deck.
There you go. We're going to put your email in the chat in case anyone has questions or if they see something they like. This is how they're going to contact you and make a deal with you.
Awesome, thank you. Let's see, Mavericks, Chris Angel, Mind Freak cards.
Ready?
These are the Monarchs, Now You See Me 2 special edition.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. They were in the movie.
Some Blue Seal Aviators. These do not have the cellophane, but the seal is intact.
And one is poker size and one is bridge size. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yeah,
Can we
these
see
are
the
pretty-
bottom real quick of the boxes? We just want to see if there's barcode. Okay. It's a nice way to date those. There we go. So the ones without the barcode are a little older than the ones with the barcode, obviously.
David Blaine Black Lions. Got some Blue Seal Circle Back Tally Hose.
The cardists in the room. They're getting excited.
Red Circle Back, Blue Seals, and Fan Back. These are pretty cool here. These are the Apex playing cards, kind of along the same lines as what Kevin talked about yesterday. These are beveled, one-way marked.
They're fun.
And of course, for my fellow magicians here, we have, these are Svengali decks. These are stripper decks. And then we got double backers, double facers, and blank face cards.
Now you're
And let me
saying
know-
you're using industry lingo here, so there's probably some people in the room that have no idea what a double backer. I mean, obviously it's pretty self-explanatory, but why would you have these? And they're for magical purposes, obviously.
Right. Should I crack one open and take one out to show them?
Sure.
So these double back cards.
They look like factory misprints, but the truth is, we do some magical things with these.
Like these are all blue-red. Double facers, of course, have a face on both sides. 10 of clubs is the same. Let me know if you prefer red or blue double facers. JKLOL. And blue back blank face cards.
Very good.
And numbering the decks was actually a really good idea. I wish I thought of it.
Me too, man. As soon as I saw it, I thought, oh, I should have told everyone to do that for Table Spotlight.
And that's all I know.
This is a great selection of cards. Again, if anyone sees anything they like, they want to buy, trade, or just make a deal, let's drop Shaun's email in the chat again. There we go. That's how you get a hold of him. Let's throw some ones at him. Shaun, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for the time.
Anytime, my friend, anytime. Okay, so we have 15 minutes left, which means we have one more Table Spotlight. You saw him yesterday. He gave an excellent presentation, terrific presentation about mark cards. Let's bring back Kevin Reylek.
Awesome. So I have a few requests. I'm mostly looking for stuff rather than selling. Obviously, from my talk yesterday, my big interest is marked cards. So if you have any interesting marked decks, I'm not super on the hunt for any modern ones. I'm generally pretty well stocked on those. But if anyone has any interesting marked decks, particularly vintage or antique, I would love to hear from you and work out possibly a sale or a trade. I would especially be looking for any pre-1930 DeLand decks. That would be awesome. I have a lot of various older DeLand decks, but most of them are from like, I think I have a couple that are from the 20s. I have one that's definitely from the 40s, but yeah, any of those sort of early ones appeal to me.
So if you have marked decks, if you have any things that Kevin's asking for, please, we've dropped his email in the chat. Go ahead and write him. He'd love to hear from you. Sorry, Kevin, go ahead.
Oh, and Don, no, not necessarily, not just factory made. If there's a cool old hand marked deck from 18 whatever that somebody has, I'm definitely interested in that. I am also particularly looking in the DeLand category for the Star deck. That's in Hockman. It's N5. N is in Norman. N5. I am looking for a Star deck if anybody has one they want to part with. And then I am also looking for generally really old tally-ho circle decks, not pinochle decks, but sort of, yeah, any pre-1920, so late 1800, early 1900 tally-ho circle decks. I would be very interested in those as well. I'm also looking for 2 marked card books, if anyone happens to have them. One is called Marked Cards by Guy Raymond, and the other is the Jeff Busby Secret of the Palmettos. So yeah, if you have any of those, give me a holler. And then I have just a few things to show you that I can sell and part with. I have some autographed stuff. I have 2 of these. I have 2 of these Blaine tour decks. I got these when Blaine came to North Carolina on tour a few years ago. So no cellophane, obviously, because he signed them on the box. But they are in great shape, unopened, unused, aside from the missing cellophane. So any Blaine fans out there, get in touch with me. I have those 2. I have a really interesting one that we did at the Blue Crown years ago. So this was the Crown emblem back. We printed this for the 3rd anniversary of the Blue Crown. So this is signed by Alex Pandrea and numbered. We made 333 of them. So there's no outer cellophane. This was a make playing cards print run, and so it just came in the white window tuck. But the cards inside are cello wrapped; they're not open. So signed and sealed by Alex. Don mentioned my drawer units. These things I'm actually looking to get rid of and switch to something else. Backwards on my camera feed, these gray things behind me. I got these at the Container Store. I don't think they make them in this color now. I think now they're clear. They're each a dozen drawers, and each one will hold 36 decks if you configure them. But because they're plastic, the weight of all those decks makes the bottom 1 to 2 drawers kind of useless. They're fine, but I'm actually looking to change up my storage. So it's not a huge recommendation for me, but if you're looking for something that's, I want to say that these days they're probably $130, $140 from Container Store. So not mega expensive, something that will hold a lot of decks. Go check out the Container Store. So that was my Blaine and my signed Pandrea. And then I have 2 from Emmanuel Jose. These are still sealed and in cellophane. So
I love his work.
Yeah,
He's
Emmanuel's
so
a
great.
genius. This one unfortunately arrived to me a little bit dinged. I have a couple of little dings on the bottom corners. I know for some people that matters more than others. And this isn't a printed signature. His very first Curator deck had a faux signature printed on the tuck. These are actual signatures, and they're signed on top of the cellophane. So we have an autographed clipped wings with those slight corner dings, and then we have an autographed Delicious,
Yeah.
and this one is in perfect shape. This one's not dinged up
That's
at
such
all.
a fun deck.
Yeah, everything he has, and actually, my uncut sheets back here, and we'll talk about one in a second. The one over my shoulder here is my lefty deck, the first deck that I ever produced. Then is my Tally-Ho Gaff deck, which we're going to talk about in a second. David Blaine marked Split Spades, his mind reading deck that was out for the general public. Thanks to Aaron Prins for getting me hooked up with that uncut sheet. And then over here is my Curator uncut sheet, which is an Emmanuel one.
Yeah,
So,
these are wonderful. I love that you've got them hanging.
Big fan.
It seems like you're proud of your work. We're proud of your work. It's very cool.
Yeah, thanks. So speaking of the Tally-Ho Gaff, that's a deck that I did in 2014. I've been a card gaffer for years, which means that I make some of those tricky decks, including like peeling cards apart and gluing them back together. And in 2013, like most of the requests that I got for handmade gaffs were Tally-Hos. And so I was like, forget making a bunch of these by hand. I was like, there's clearly a demand for factory printed gaffs. So in 2014, I printed the Tally-Ho gaff assortment. And I only have a few bricks of these left. I printed them 6 years ago. So there's only a few left. And this is unique and can never be printed again, both because of the box and some of the cards that are included. So you see over my shoulder that there's some of these split red-blue. I'm not allowed to do that anymore. On the box, you see that it actually says gaff assortment above Tally-Ho. Can't do that anymore per USPC regulations. And the back has all 4 back designs in miniature. I'm not allowed to do that anymore either. So if I do a second run of a gaff deck, it will be similar but distinctly different. The other thing that's in here that I can't do anymore are bicycle tally double backers. They won't allow kind of co-branding within the same deck anymore. So if you want factory printed cards, and I have every combination of red and blue, fan and circle back. So whichever one you like is in this deck. So
that's so fun.
In this case, it's
Let's
a blue
get some
circle
ones in the
back
chat room
with a red-blue split. So I have a handful of these gaffs left if anyone's interested. Those are all new and sealed because I produced them. But yeah, fun deck that I'm really proud of, and I love performing with Tally-Hos, so I wanted tricky cards available for those. And then the other thing that I have available still, anyone who was at the convention last year, and we could maybe do a screen share in a minute for this, last year at the convention, because it was in North Carolina and I was a North Carolina native, I wanted to do a special deck. And yep, Kelsey was there. She popped up in the chat. The Dogwoods. Whew, that's some glare. So
yeah, these
we'll
are
probably
beautiful,
do a screen
Kevin.
share in a minute to show these. So this was a limited run of 500 that I printed with Expert. The tuck box has gold foil on it, so the title is done in gold foil, and then there's also gold foil on the back. individually numbered seals out of 500. This is actually the first one I ever opened last year, and they're still holding up great for the people who like to gripe about China-made expert decks. Like I said, I've been using and handling this deck for a year, holding up great. The back design is dogwood branches. Dogwood is the state flower of North Carolina. So we have this pale sky blue background. So it's almost like you're laying on your back on the ground, looking up through the branches of a dogwood tree. And then we have gold foil on the card backs themselves.
Yeah, the little,
sort of the
little accents of
pollen
foil are so cool.
cluster.
This is such a beautiful deck.
So can we do a screen share? Do I need to push screen share to make that
You need to press
happen?
the green button, my friend.
Cool, cool. So hopefully everyone can see this. Is that working, Lee?
Those little dots are foil, and it glimmers when you kind of shake. It's such a beautiful deck.
Yeah, it really has this subtle cool thing. You know, it's not like a huge wash of gold that slams you in the face. It's subtle. And yeah, the deck really kind of seems to shimmer when it catches the light and whatnot. We did the faces, standard design with custom color scheme. So there's the diamonds and the spades. There's a shot of the tuck, so you can see that front tuck foil. The ace of spades. The tuck back. So that's these photos are of the exact same deck that I'm holding here now, number 84. I opened that because that's when I was born, 1984. And then the ace and the joker. And the other thing that I'm really proud of with this deck is I wanted to do something that would give back. So I do a portion of the proceeds of this deck to the Dogwood Alliance. They're a great foundation here in Asheville, North Carolina, which is out sort of near the mountains. And they're really focused on sustainable forest, I'm gonna kind of trip over my words here. Sustainable production of paper, which is a big deal. The southeastern U.S. is one of the world's foremost lumber suppliers for paper, and they really sort of promote and protect sustainable growth and preservation, which for our industry obviously is super important.
That's
so,
right, a beautiful deck with a great cause.
Great cause. And so these are retail $40, which I know sounds like a lot, but call any factory and try and make 500 decks that have foil on the cards and on the tuck box, and you'll sell them for $40 too.
But they're a beautiful deck. They're a beautiful deck.
They are beautiful. I'm very proud of these. These were designed by Chudi Zhang, who did the Woodlands deck for us at Penguin. And for members, though, I can do these for $30. So I offered convention pricing last year at $30. I'll do the same thing this year. If you want a dogwood deck, we'll do them for $30.
You heard it here, folks. $30. KevinReylek@gmail.com. We just dropped it in the chat. That's right. $30 for members. How about non-members that are watching?
Yeah, everyone watching. Yep, totally. Yep.
Okay. See, now that's love right there, everybody. You see that? Throw some ones down. He didn't have to do that, but he did it. That's right. Thank you, Kevin. Do you have anything you want to share? We just have about 3 minutes left if you want.
I have something that I am dying to share. It's this deck right here that I'll show you a face of, but I can't show you the back of because it's part of the deck debut night in a little while. So I can't flip this around and show you as much as I want to. I can't do it yet. But it's awesome. I can't wait for everyone to see that one. But yeah, feel free to email me if you're interested in Dogwood, Tally-Ho Gaffs, or any of those autograph decks, the Pandrea Crown Emblem thing, the two Emmanuel Jose decks, or the Blaine Tour decks.
Let's drop his email one more time in the chat. Let's throw some ones in the chat. Kevin, thank you. And thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, that was Table Spotlight for day 2. I hope everyone enjoyed themselves. I hope you saw some decks that you want to buy, or maybe you want to trade the person that you saw, or maybe you just want to write and say, hey, thanks for sharing that information. I thought that whiskey information was great, Kevin. I don't know if you're still in the room, but thank you. Everyone was really wonderful today. So more ones. This is for all of you that just did Table Spotlight. Really quickly also, let those ones go while I talk. Just keep pressing them. I just want them to go for the next 3 minutes. I want to thank also my stream techs. Again, all of you are giving me credit for how awesome this is going, but the truth is, just sitting here, I'm just talking. It's all my stream tech's laughing in the background. They're working so hard. You can't see what's happening in the background, but these guys are constantly moving and shaking. So Keith Brown, John Patterson, thank you very much. These ones right here, those are for you. Also, I have my helpers in the chat, and Juicy, Don Boyer, we have Brian, we have, I'm talking about brain farts. We also have Steve Bowling, we have Doug Rickenbach, we have Dave Hoffmeister. They're all in there for your help. If you need anything, they're the ones that will take care of you to help make sure your experience is as great as it can possibly be. The Decking Around crew, that's Tyler and Steve. Ender's Game, these are the guys that helped me spread the word early on. I also want to say Pip Chick was great. I see that she's in the room. She was helping as well. The United Cardist Forum, love all of you guys. Chris Mayhew, that's right, I see you in the room. You did all these wonderful graphics for us. He's the director of Lost of Magic. So let's throw some ones in the room. These guys I can't do without them, guys. I really can't. So show them love. Give them all the ones.